He's done so many more things like since then. But I mean, people have,
and good stuff.
Yes,
that's the thing. Is really, really good. Like, and I think he was. I've said this before about other people, but I think he was genius to have stuck with Harry Potter for so long because I feel like that's given him the financial stability to really pick what he wants to do.
Yeah.
So he's not worried about money. He's just doing this because he loves acting, and I think that this is one of those movies that really that shows that. This isn't a movie that's trying to get, a huge box office draw. It's to tell the story, the true story,
which is crazy,
of somebody trying to survive in the jungle.
Yeah.
In Bolivia, South America. That couldn't have been fun, man.
No, not at all. But yeah, I just kind of picked this movie on a whim, and I had picked it without even seeing it yet. And
sometimes those are the best episodes.
I was already intrigued by it just because it was Daniel Radcliffe, and he looked on the cover. He looked so much different because he has a huge beard. And he's all dirty. He just looks like man, he's been through a lot. Just seeing the cover of the movie, and I was like, man, this movie looks pretty good. And I read the back of it, and I was like, oh yeah, it's supposed to be a true story. Wow, cool. And I think
playing an Israeli dude.
Yeah,
Yossi Geisman, I believe his name was.
Yeah, and I think I had texted you the picture of. I was like, let's do Jungle, and I sent you a picture of me holding the DVD or Blu-ray or whatever, and I was like, well, let's do it on this. I haven't seen it yet, and I don't know that for some reason I just felt like picking this movie, even though I haven't seen it. I had no idea about it. Only from what you said, it was a pretty good movie.
It is.
Yeah, and I have to agree. But yeah, so that's why I picked this movie.
This is one of the first, well, not entirely, but one of the first times in a very long time that we haven't watched the movie together.
Yes.
We watched it, I put it on last night too.
Okay.
So I could be a little bit more familiar again. And it was awesome.
Heck yeah.
It's your questions. Sir.
All right. How did you feel about this movie when you first saw it? Or just seeing it? What was your thoughts on it from the beginning?
I was completely intrigued, and I felt like they did such a good job of creating the realism.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean. Going out and shooting, just like shooting on the water, is on the ocean. It's not easy, and I'm sure this movie wasn't easy too to really make you feel, because you have to really create that survival kind of tone, and that's got to be pretty hard, especially when you yell cut and you guys go off to your trailer or back to your hotel or whatever, you know what I mean? And they really do this, and you can tell that Daniel in particular, he really dedicated himself to this role. You can tell by the end he
physically,
he drops so much weight because starvation comes into play and stuff, and it just looks very, very authentic, and at the same time it's very beautiful wherever they were shooting. We'll get into that later in the Swann facts.
Nice.
But yeah, and I think all the supporting actors were nobody big, but they're very good at what they do.
Oh yeah,
they help carry him as well. You know what I mean? And it's just kind of a tragic story that has ultimately a pretty happy ending.
Yeah.
Not for Marcus, but
yeah. Spoilers. If you haven't seen it, check it out before we get into pretty important stuff in the movie.
Yeah. Also, it's if you have Amazon Prime, it's streaming on Prime.
Nice
for you guys. Okay. CJ let me know. He couldn't make it with us. He was trying to. But I'm sure the rain kept him away this time. So CJ sends his love.
Oh, yeah.
And you can watch this on Prime. Maybe press pause now if you don't want to know too much about the film. Yeah. Although it is a true story. So
yeah, that's one thing about it. When when I put it in, I was looking at the cover and the back and everything. It says, based on a true story, and I was like, cool. I can just look up really quick what happened to this guy and know the story already.
It's based on a book. He released basically a memoir of what he went through.
But I didn't want to do that and kind of ruin the story of. I didn't want to ruin the film. Basically, I wanted to know how it happened. From the film, and then after look up what happened and other things. But
this is something definitely I could see them doing a reenactment on. I shouldn't have survived. Is that what that show's called? Or I shouldn't be alive, or I should be dead, or whatever. Yeah, this is.
That's one of those type of stories, which is crazy.
It's just fucking nuts.
Yeah.
That this actually this happened, and they actually all this stuff that he goes through is actually toned down.
Really?
I'll get into that a little later, but they actually cut out a lot of bad stuff that happened to him.
Okay.
I guess they didn't want to make it feel like torture porny.
I get
where they're just like, oh god.
Yeah.
Like too sad.
Yeah, I can kind of I think. I know what kind of things you're talking about, but I can see where stuff could have went south.
Mm-hmm. You got to ride that happy medium where it's not too sad. Where you're like, oh, I got to turn this off. Like I can't watch this.
It's just too painful to watch. But what would you rate this movie if you had to 1 to 10?
I would say an 8.
Yeah, I'd have to agree too.
It's a solid 8. Yeah.
Hell yeah! This movie is definitely worth watching, and if you're into owning maybe a hard copies of stuff, would definitely buy it. If you're into having a physical copy of something, yeah, which I am, so that's why I bought it. I don't like really streaming things unless I really have to.
Would you say do you stream anything before you buy it?
There's probably a few things, like Mayhem.
Oh, okay.
Well, I streamed it. I rented it on my Xbox, and
so you did buy Mayhem, did you?
Well, I rented it.
Oh, okay.
And I got it for like 24 days or 21 days or something like that. But I did buy the actual physical copy.
That's what I was asking. Okay.
No,
cool.
So
I'm glad
I did buy it after I saw it because the movie was awesome.
Yeah, glad you liked it, man.
Yeah.
Did you veering off real quick? Did you watch Brawl Insult Block 99 yet?
I haven't watched that one yet, and I keep on seeing that one at Target.
Dude, once you see it, you're like, I can't believe that I waited so long.
Yeah, I know.
On this, dude, watch it.
I got to.
Annie and Tim even watched it.
Oh, really?
On our recommendation.
Oh, nice.
Because I think it's also on Amazon too.
Okay.
And they were like, holy shit.
Yeah.
This movie's good.
We gotta have them back on. So we gotta have them back on.
Yeah. When they're always filling in for you.
Yeah, I know.
So you always miss them.
Yeah.
But yeah, we definitely need to bring them back on the show.
Yes.
Some great personalities there. Shout out to them. What's another question for you? What would you do if you were put in the scenario of this film? For anybody who doesn't know, so basically, Daniel Radcliffe's character Yossi, he meets these two other dudes who he knows kind of moderately. They're not super close, but they kind of bond, and they
spent a couple of days with each other before they meet their guide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were going to go back to America, and Yossi or Radcliffe he says, I met this guide who says he can take us on this trip into the jungle. So why don't you guys cancel your flights and come with me and let's do this? Like, it's gonna be so fun.
Yeah.
And they're very like this sounds like bullshit.
Yeah, it sounds kind of sketchy.
Like, I don't know. And anyway, long story short, he convinces them to go out, and for the first few days, it goes fine. They're having a pretty good time. It's beautiful, and then they start to realize that the guide isn't really who he says he was.
Yeah, and I want to get into that like a little bit later on, but I really like when you find out what happened at the end of the movie. But no, continue. Sorry.
But yeah, so what would you do given you were put in that situation? Let's say you were in Radcliffe's position and you brought your buddies out there and you trusted this guy and he basically betrays you and you how would you assess the situation?
Oh man,
I know that's a tough question.
You kind of it's funny because like you watch these shows like what's it called, Man vs. Wild or whatever, or Dual Survival. I think they're both on Discovery, and you're like, oh man, like I know how to, I know how to filter water through an old coffee cup, and start a fire and whatever. But like, I've tried starting a fire, with just stuff that I found, and it's really hard, and I don't think I would be well equipped to deal with the stuff that he went through. That just everything that he went through. I think I would have. I forgot how many days, how many weeks he was alone by himself in the jungle. But I don't know. I
feel like just the rapids alone.
Yeah, the rapids alone. I think I would have died then. I would have for sure died. I don't think I would have waited because there's a point where him and his buddy Kevin, when they go down the rapids and their raft gets stuck on that big rock.
Yeah,
and then Kevin, he's like, I'm gonna swim over to the rocks. You throw me the machete. I'll fashion a vine and I'll throw it over to you. And Yossi, he kind of just stays there, and I feel like because he was really scared and he didn't know what to do, and he was panicking, and he kind of just stays there. And if I were him at that point, I would have just tried to swim over too. I don't think I would have held on to the raft and just waited for it to break. But which ends up happening, and he goes down the rapids and gets hit in his head. And
I guess if he had tried to swim on his own, the same thing would have happened, right?
Yeah.
But at least he would have been in more of control rather than being swept away by surprise.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think I would have given up a lot sooner than he did. But I mean, you never really know until you're in that situation, which is a situation you never want to be in.
Yeah.
But
there's a lot of elements of the jungle that are just very vicious,
Yeah, 'cause like there's the point when they're all together, all four of them, and their buddy Marcus, he's suffering from what does he have on his feet? It's just like jungle rot or what's it called?
I don't know if do they have a name for it?
I know there's a name. I
thought they were just walking so much that he was.
It's like when you're. They always talk about like when you're in the jungle that or if your shoes and socks get wet and you're continuously walking.
Oh yeah.
And you get like your feet get soggy and then they blister and rip and get all rotted,
warped.
Yeah, and nasty, and you have to like dry your feet off and stuff and keep them dry until you start walking in. But that alone was kind of was like, oh man, there's stuff you don't think about from like walking around for so much that your feet basically are like falling off.
Yeah, because I mean, once you can't use your legs, what do you do?
Yeah.
Because they get to the point where it's either ride the rapids down or walk for 3 days back.
And Yusi's kind of like I want to keep going. I want to find this village, you know, this these native. That's the whole point of him going. He wants to find this this old ancient village that tribe still people still live there, or so that's what Carl